Hello, Coolman229 here with another Topic of the Week video. This week I'll be discussing Cho Chang from Harry Potter. This week's topic was submitted by Tumblr user helbertinelli, and her topic is: could you talk about Cho Chang, your opinion on her and her part in the story? I really like Cho. Honestly, Cho got the shaft. I've mentioned Cho in previous videos that I've done, like when I talked about my Harry and Ginny's forced relationship. But this topic video is going to be focused entirely on Cho. Cho Chang is an interesting character. Apart from being, I believe the only Asian character we've ever seen in the series, in the books. She was very obviously set up to be Harry's love interest. Now, when you have a love interest being set up for the main character, you really need to be careful how you handle this to prevent them from just becoming the love interest. Having them revolve entirely around the main character and just being a love interest is bad, regardless of which genders are involved. If it's a female love interest or a male love interest, because no one wants to ship a character and pair a character up with a flat character that just exists just to be paired with them. And Cho wasn't that. When you have a relationship that, especially one with the main character, you really need to set this up and you need to make it believable. Something like Katang in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Aang and Katara's building relationship was established from its very beginning, all the way in the beginning of the first episode, all the way through all 3 seasons. And you got development, of course, that. And personally, I think if you're writing a long term story, slow burn is definitely the best way to go without having them hook up almost immediately. And Cho, when you do something like you have a few seasons of a show, it's good to set the stuff up early. And with 7 planned books, J.K. Rowling had 7 books to play with. And Cho's first appearance was in The Prisoner of Azkaban, in a very small scene that didn't make it into the movie, where Harry is playing against the Ravenclaw Quidditch team, and he sees Cho, and his first thought is, oh, she's cute, and that's about it. I will give credit to J.K. Rowling. Putting a small scene like that in is a great way to set up for Harry liking her in The Goblet of Fire. The Goblet of Fire may be a dumpster story of a narrative, a dumpster fire of a narrative, but at least I can give her that. In Goblet of Fire, she was very much the object of Harry's affection. He really liked her. He wanted to ask her to the Yule Ball, only to find out that she had a thing going on with Cedric. So that ended up being dampened. But really, she didn't really have much of a role in Goblet of Fire other than Harry liking her, but she still existed as a character, being Cedric's girlfriend, and did give her some connection to the main plot, but she was there, and I think that's important for the development of the story, and ultimately Cedric's untimely death, making her single again. But all of this does play into the story, and the story is bad, but her role in it was fair enough for what was clearly meant to be, a side character. And ultimately her main role comes in Order of the Phoenix. And this is where you can really tell that J.K. Rowling was planning their relationship to be a thing. She takes a much more prominent role, being involved in Dumbledore's army and being involved in Harry's training of the students in the Defense Against the Dark Arts in the Room of Requirement. Ultimately, she and Harry sharing a kiss. Obviously, there is some difficulty with their, kind of coming together, considering the fact that, she was dating Cedric and he's dead. And she's still, having, issues with that and grieving. And, Harry's still grieving too, but for the most part, they ultimately do come to, share that. And And as a kid, when I was reading that, that's what really got me to love them as a thing, as a pairing. I really, like, I always kind of wanted them to get together, but it was that really kind of made me, like, really like them. And I like that Cho was taking a bit more of a prominent role in the story. However, I talked about this before, but this is where her character gets assassinated, goes totally off the rails, and then disappears forever. One of her friends betrayed everyone and the Dumbledore's army and leaked, basically ratted them out to Umbridge. And Hermione had, unbeknownst to anyone else, bewitched the contract that they signed to label them snitch with pimples or scars or something. It was like permanent pimples or something right across their face if they, broke the contract and basically turned them over. Which Cho got pissed off at. This is a complex situation that's really kind of poorly handled. It reminds me a lot of the situation when Shepard meets the Vermeer survivor on Horizon in Mass Effect 2, where you basically have a really kind of a tense and complicated situation, really poorly handled, and no one is able to say the right things, and everyone says the wrong things. Ultimately, the issue is designed, or is the way it's portrayed by Rowling, is that Cho is being an unreasonable, she's being totally unreasonable because, well, obviously she's mad at Hermione and Harry and everyone or mad at Hermione for doing this to her friend. And her friend was wrong. And yeah, honestly, there's two different parts to this that you can understand both sides of. On one hand, this is her friend, and she doesn't want her friend to be hurt like that and being permanently marked and humiliated. On the other hand, Hermione, that was a super dick move, and it's one of those weird things where the main characters never get called out on the actual crap they do. They'll get in trouble for stuff, but a lot of it is basically, someone thought they were doing something wrong, or they were just, innocently exploring, or, they were trying to do something and got caught. But when they do messed up stuff like this, it's never really brought up as them doing something wrong. They signed the contract thinking it was just a simple contract. And Hermione, unbeknownst to them, and this is the part that really pisses me off about this, is that no one knew that this was actually a bewitched contract. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't have signed it. They probably thought it was more symbolic than anything, so they thought, all right, we'll just sign it. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have a big conflict with a number of members of the Dumbledore's army over that, and a lot of people were terrified of what would happen if they left or betrayed them for whatever reason. But I haven't read Order of the Phoenix in a while, so I believe, what I remember is that I remember there being an implication that Umbridge had done essentially the quill, the scars the back of your hand with Cho's friend, or in some ways had tortured her or coerced her into giving her information. I don't remember her being totally just a total snitch who just snitched on them just cuz. But even if it was, it doesn't change the fact that what Hermione did was a dick move. But it feels like this is such a morally gray situation that was totally glossed over. And it really feels like it was done like that to make Cho look bad. So Rowling could get Cho out of the story, and then, and then ultimately set up Ginny being Harry's one true love. And really, if you're going to do that, what's the point of even having Cho in this? Honestly, if Rowling really wanted Ginny, she should have just taken Cho out of the story and just replaced her with Ginny. All that build up with the relationships over the book, the last one, honestly, even in just the Order of the Phoenix, just replace Cho with Ginny. If that's really what she wanted, leave Cho alone. Don't destroy her character just to, get her out of the way. And that's what it feels like. It really, honestly feels like Rowling destroyed Cho's character just to set up some contrived pairing. And the problem here really is Cho, this all happens and Cho disappears. She runs off. She is not seen of, and I do not believe she's mentioned more than a couple of times after this. Even though she was only a year ahead of Harry, which means that she would have been in her 7th year during the 6th book. It's all about Ginny. So there's really not much to talk about after Order of the Phoenix, but there's a lot to talk about in the Order of the Phoenix. Cho was very much a supporter of Dumbledore's army. So I don't particularly understand why her being so adamant about her friend being, after she leaked information on them, unless that friend was totally coerced and had little to no choice and basically gave in to torture. At that point, you can't fault a teenager for giving in to torture, especially someone as sadistic and cruel as Umbridge. It's like I said, this feels like it's a morally gray situation that's really kind of tossed against Cho just to make Cho look bad. There's no discussion with Harry. I mean, it's obvious that she and Harry had a thing. This shouldn't be Cho on her friend's side and Harry on Hermione's side. This should be something that they talk about, they discuss. Having Hermione realize that Cho's friend actually didn't, do this to be a jerk or, to be hateful, but actually was coerced and forced into giving information, and then have her apologize for what she did, basically scarring her over something that she didn't want to do in the first place. But and even then, even if you totally wiped out any sympathetic element and her friend was basically evil, what's the point of having this? Why have Cho's friend do this? Again, it's just to make Cho look bad when she defends her. And even then, I don't even know why she's so against Harry. It's he and Hermione are friends. It's just, this is just a clustercrap of stupidity. And it hurts my brain trying to, reason with this. There's no reasoning to this. You just end up with messed up characters. Cho made to look bad, and then her disappearing. What is even the point of having her around if all you're going to end up doing with her is tossing her to the side? Cho is a Ravenclaw. Ravenclaws are supposed to be smart. And just, why have her act so dumb? Besides the fact that J.K. Rowling thinks that Ravenclaws are all snooty, uppity, know-it-alls, which, don't know why Hermione wasn't in there, but that's none of my business. It pains me because J.K. Rowling clearly took a lot of care to develop Cho and Harry's relationship, up to having them kiss. It's not specifically described in the book of them kissing, but the implication is there. It happened. And just, it doesn't go anywhere. Just, any good writer knows that if you're going to dedicate that much time to a plot line, you don't just dump it off and make sure it never affects anything ever again. It's just bad writing. That really pisses me off. Cho is such an, could have been so much more in the story. Honestly, one of the things that I liked about, shipping her and Harry was that this would have been a very prominent inter-house relationship in the series. Harry's a Gryffindor, Cho is a Ravenclaw, and it's funny because it was never really, despite the fact that J.K. Rowling clearly had these weird biases, this never particularly came up in the story. I don't remember this ever coming up in the books as being a big deal. It was always just they liked each other, they ended up liking each other, so that was really it. And that's really how it should be. There shouldn't be such an intense divide, like all, how American television will have these weird, super exclusive cliques where everyone is you have the jocks and the cheerleaders and, the nerds, and then you have, the baseball team, and everyone is in these hyper exclusive groups. That's kind of what it feels like with the houses. What's the point of having them all be tightly formed and almost separate from the other houses, and each house represents something extremely simplistic, like Gryffindor's the good guys, Slytherin is the bad guys, Hufflepuffs are just the idiots, and then Ravenclaws are the snooty duties. Really, what's the point? And when you have someone like Cho, who is overall portrayed as a decent person, why all of a sudden have her become something so stupid? It makes no sense. And like I talked about in my video about Harry, the Harry Potter trio, and how there really should have been more, inter-house relationships, and friendships and, romantic relationships. Having Cho be in there, along with Luna, both of them being Ravenclaws, that would have actually added to the main cast. Instead of having them be mostly Gryffindors, and then Luna, who might as well be Gryffindor, because she's basically just a Gryffindor fangirl to suit J.K. Rowling's needs. But including all these characters into, the main group, and having Harry date a Ravenclaw would actually do a lot of wonders for that, the way she portrayed these characters. I mean, actually portraying them as, as decent people, and, having Harry and her in a decent relationship would have actually been a fantastic thing to do. And then, and then not, and then not do stupid stuff like have the Slytherins all run off because, they didn't want to fight for Hogwarts. But I guess that's asking too much of J.K. Rowling to treat the other houses with the same respect that she gives Gryffindor, but Cho was one of the most prominent Ravenclaw characters, and it's funny because outside of Luna, I honestly couldn't tell you the name of a single Ravenclaw student at Hogwarts. Cho is pretty much, by all appearances, the primary Ravenclaw character in the story. And with her gone, we lose that. Luna, well, she's so pro-Gryffindor half the time that honestly, it's kind of hard to even see her as Ravenclaw. Sometimes there's sometimes when I was remembering it, I just think she's a Gryffindor. No, wait, she was technically supposed to be a Ravenclaw. And it really, and honestly, I'm pretty sure that there were multiple reasons why Rowling pissed on Cho's character. Maybe she felt we know that she was clearly setting up Henny, but she also probably felt she doesn't want a Ravenclaw taking up too much space, so she's going to replace her with a Gryffindor. That fixes everything, yeah. And it's really sad. I like Cho. I enjoyed her. I enjoyed her relationship with Harry. I enjoyed the fact that she and Harry didn't immediately hit it off. I enjoyed the fact that she and Harry, she was dating someone else. Another main character that we do like, Cedric Diggory. And the fact that she and Harry ended up hooking up. Honestly, it actually would have been really nice if Cho and Hermione could actually bond over being intelligent. But considering that she's a Ravenclaw, or having Cho be part of the team. You know what? Actually, it would have been great if Cho ended up joining them on the mission to the Ministry to rescue Sirius. But, was it Sirius? Mr. Weasley. Gosh dang it, I always mix this up. I look this up all the time, but I can never remember. But when they went to the Ministry of Magic and all that crap went down, if Cho was in that group, if she and Harry sort of were kind of getting together and then she decided to join them, that would actually be really great. Just have a Ravenclaw do something. Another Ravenclaw besides Luna. But really, that's it, and it's so sad because I really was hoping. I was really thinking there was more to talk about in this video, but sadly, Cho ended up getting the shaft so much. She was introduced in the 3rd book, cut out in the 5th book, and in the 6th and 7th book isn't even remotely a minor character. And considering Harry had a several-year-long crush, and I can tell you from experience, crushes feelings like that don't just go away, especially after they were about to hook up. No. It's like these relationships, these feelings wouldn't just go away. It's like he didn't even angst over Cho a lot, and it wasn't like a stumbling block in getting with Ginny. She just vanishes from the story. I think she might have been mentioned a couple times after the Order of the Phoenix, but she ends up becoming a non-entity. It pisses me off. Because she could have had a much better part in the story. She could have been the primary Ravenclaw. She could have been something that Rowling could have used to really develop the Ravenclaws. We could have had her and Harry get together, and then Harry meets other Ravenclaws, and actually starts becoming a little more exposed, a little bit outside of the somewhat restrictive dynamics that Rowling had set up. But no, nothing happened. And for all the characters that ended up coming together with friendship and everything, it's a little surprising that Rowling never incorporated other characters. And Cho seems like she was going to be. It took a couple books to actually put her in that position, which I do respect, not shoving her in, but when she was about to be a shining character, and a lot of that was her and Harry was actually going to come together, and that plot line was coming to a conclusion, it's just all falls apart. It's dumb. Honestly, it's super dumb. And it's really painful because I'm going to admit, when I was a kid, Harry and Cho was my OTP. Not even joking. I adored them. I was even the naive child that I was even hoping that after reading Order of the Phoenix, that Harry and Cho could make up. And imagine my disappointment when he started macking on Ginny out of nowhere, and just it's what? Wait, what about Cho? No, Ginny, it's all about Ginny now. I think Cho might probably be, along with Draco, one of the biggest signs of missed opportunities in the Harry Potter series. For a character that was supposed to that was clearly becoming prominent, she ended up just fading into obscurity, and it's honestly just really sad. Well, I think that's about it for today. If you want to watch last week's topic video, you can check that out here. If you want to watch next week's topic video, you can check that out here when I get that done. If you want to submit a topic, just comment below if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Tumblr, send me an ask, and just remember to put topic, then whatever you want me to talk about. And just make sure to follow the rules that I'll be posting below on both Tumblr and YouTube. Thank you for watching.